Fighters loyal to the National Transitional Council are facing fierce resistance in the battle for Muammar Gaddafi's home city. Sirte has been bombarded with military shells. Gaddafi snipers have been trying to beat back the assault. Aljazeera's Zaina Hodder is on the front.
Well, it's not an active front as we witnessed yesterday. Anti-Gaddafi fighters are still trying to take control of the Ouagadougou Conference Center. That's in the center of Sirte, where Gaddafi loyalists are holed up. A lot of snipers, they've been slowing their advance. They're engaging in fierce clashes, so not much progress. Yesterday, we saw the anti-Gaddafi fighters really heavily pound the city of Sirte, particularly neighborhoods in and around the Ouagadougou Conference Center. They lost a lot of men up to Twar, but according to commanders, the final push will continue. There will be no let-up in the fighting, and this major assault will continue.
The biggest attack on Sirte yet. This time the objective is to take control of the city. Libyan fighters launched a full-scale assault, advancing from 3 directions, the east, south and west, using all their heavy firepower. Rockets, tank shells. Loyalists are now surrounded in the...
Either die, then surrender. Gaddafi's snipers are positioned on high buildings in and around Sirte, and they have been slowing the advance of anti-Gaddafi fighters.
Gaddafi loyalists are believed to be in what is known as Giza, an area where Mauritanians who were given Libyan citizenship live. Not far from that neighborhood is the Ouagadougou Conference Center, where Gaddafi used to receive world leaders. The artillery barrages are turning their focus on those areas. For many of these fighters, Ouagadougou is more than a loyalist stronghold. It is a symbol of Sirte's preferential status under Gaddafi, who made this city Libya's second capital.
If we control Sirte, it would mean we liberated Libya. It was Gaddafi's political bastion. We can declare victory after Sirte falls.
But fighters have been suffering casualties. This 3-week battle has been costly on both sides and civilians. Thousands have left Sirte. But the preferential status that earned Gaddafi loyalty from parts of the population has made some choose to stay. Reports of fighters from other African countries persist.
It is mainly those from Mauritania and Chad who are still inside, and they are fighting at us.
That civilians who are trying to escape usually use to leave Sirte. Now, only a few cars were seen leaving today, but over the past 3 weeks, really, we saw thousands of people leave that city. And some of them were Gaddafi loyalists, and they didn't shy away from that fact. They actually even blamed NATO. They blamed fighters, anti-Gaddafi fighters, for killing civilians inside the city, for what they're calling indiscriminate fire. In Ibn Sina hospital, patients are sitting in the corridors. The wards are not safe enough. The hospital has been hit by shelling, and they need to evacuate people. So it's very difficult for us really to say how many civilians are trapped inside, but their area is heading towards a dark tunnel. And for them, they don't know what kind of future, what the future holds. And they are quite scared that, they see all these fighters carrying weapons. Will they lay their arms? Will they take revenge against us? So this is a city where Gaddafi does enjoy loyalty, and it's here probably where the biggest test will be for national reconciliation.
Into those defended areas, and they hope later this afternoon then to see if they can push forward further. But as things stand, parts of the town have definitely been taken, are being held. Other parts are still being defended by Gaddafi loyalists.
And what is behind this defence by those forces, given what is coming into Sirte from the former rebel side?
Well, it's extraordinary, really, that defence is so tenacious. But we've actually just spoken to some of the civilians coming out of Sirte, and it is extraordinary, thinking about what's happened in Libya in the last 3 or 4 weeks. They don't know about that. These are passionate Gaddafi loyalists. This was the town that he personally developed really as his own project. And the people there still believe in him, and they believe that they will be killed if they come out. We watched fighters from the government side, seeing these terrified families coming out, cars packed with children. They even had their pets, their cats, their suitcases. And they're saying to us, we know we're going to be killed. And these fighters were coming out and saying, you won't be. You'll be looked after. You're okay. They're checking them very thoroughly to see if they've got any weapons or if they're fighters. But people inside believe they are fighting for their lives. They've been so cut off. You've got ordinary residents as well as trained Gaddafi soldiers in there who believe they have to fight to the finish. So it's proving very, very tough to persuade them that they really are fighting for a lost cause.
Is there any chance that Colonel Gaddafi is in Sirte?
I think it's very unlikely. We don't know what they'll find. The real strongholds of Colonel Gaddafi now, he's got his own compound. There's a conference centre called the Ouagadougou Conference Centre, areas around the university and the hospital. Those are the areas that are being very fiercely defended. And the assumption here is if they're being defended very fiercely, it's possible a significant member of the Gaddafi family is there. We think his son, Mutassin, who's been very involved in military operations, may be there. But we think it's very unlikely that Muammar Gaddafi himself would allow himself to be stuck in a town that is besieged on all sides with no escape route.